So, anyone in here know the comedian Mike Birbiglia? Mike Birbiglia, one of my favorite comedians. And he tells us that he comes from a family that he says is not exactly an I love you kind of family. Now, they don't say the words I love you, like ever. They instead say, take care. He's like, yeah, you can laugh at that, you can chuckle at that, because it's not the same thing. And for one thing, it doesn't even have the word love in it. And for another thing, it's sort of like a passive-aggressive command. You know? It's like, I need you to do something for me. Take care. And I heard him tell this story, and I'm like, man, I'm imagining what it must have been like for him as a kid to grow up like that. You know, like, is my dad packing my lunch out of love or out of obligation today? Did my mom take me to the doctor because she loved me or because she felt guilty that I fell down the stairs? You know, or you know, something like as simple as, did my parents rush into my room when I had a nightmare because they loved me? Or because they just needed me to shut up so they could get some sleep? And I can tell you for sure, in that case, it was the latter. Parents just need so we can get some sleep. But generally speaking, he shouldn't have to doubt that, right? His parents lived by that code. Like, we don't say I love you, to the point where even when he had cancer in his 20s, even when his dad had a heart attack, they never said those words to each other. It's like they lived by this motto: love your children at all times, and when necessary, use words. Except that they just never really found it necessary. Some of us, when it comes to sharing God's love with other people, we kind of live by that same motto. Right? You might have heard it said like this: preach the gospel, the good news of Jesus at all times. And when necessary, use words. And the sentiment is meant to be it's meant to be a correction, right? For those of us who are willing to talk about God's love a lot and never show it. But this morning I want to ask, and we're in this series, right, called Questioning Evangelism. And the question that I have this morning is, are actions enough? In fact, some of us might put that a little differently. Aren't actions enough? Because some of us live by that motto. Preach the gospel at all times, and when necessary, use words. It's just that, like Birbiglia's parents, we just very infrequently, if ever, find it necessary. Are actions enough to share the good news of God's love? And you might be surprised, but as a preacher, I'm going to tell you, I don't think they are. I don't think they are. Not because to be good followers of Jesus or good church-going folks that we have to perform this ritual or make good on this rule that we need to go around house to house. You know, I had some people come to my house one time to share what they thought was good news. And the first thing that they shared was that there was a rule in the Bible that you have to go house to house and share this. That was the first thing that they shared. They were following the rules. First of all, I didn't feel very loved by that. I'm just part of your rule. And then second of all, I was also like, oh, can we find that place in the Bible where that is? Because like, for the life of me, I can't remember where it is. And we made it together. We don't do that. We don't share the good news of God's love verbally because of a rule that we got to live up to. We don't share it to make ourselves right with God. We share it because God Himself never wants people to be in doubt of the source of our love for our neighbor.
Yeah. Yeah.
He never wants people to imagine that when we love our neighbor, when we do acts of social justice or compassion, that the source, the ultimate source of that love is me, or is us, is this church. He wants people to be sure, to know that the ultimate source of that love is Him. Why is that important? Why is that important, right? Because aren't we like solving the problem when we do an act of justice or mercy? Isn't that what's important? Well, it is important. I mean, today is one day before Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. We remember a man who said, if you love someone's soul, if you profess to love someone's soul, but you fail to love their body, you're a liar. I'm paraphrasing. But at the same time, if you love somebody's body, but you don't love their soul, you don't love the whole person. And what's more, I don't know about you, but I personally don't feel competent to solve all your bodily or material problems. There are some problems that we have. There are some problems that our neighbors have that are too deep for us to fix, that are too big for us to fix. There are problems of justice in our community and in our country and in our world that are at such a scale, you and I feel kind of overwhelmed to even think about how to address it, don't we? We need folks to have direct access to the source of the love that we have to share. Because there are problems that we just can't fix. When we add words to our loving actions, what happens is we don't just add words, actually. Our words don't just add something. They actually multiply. Because what we're doing is we are connecting our neighbors to the reservoir of love that from which our streams of loving action flow. So that they can tap right into the source whenever they need it. Whenever they need it, they can go directly to God. They can go directly to Him. And in His love can not only flow to them, but also through them. We don't just add when we add words to our good news actions. We multiply. Jesus gives us some deep reasons for doing what we're doing here today. When we come to this place to do some loving actions, some good news, some gospel actions, like clean up this school. Today we're going to do a deep clean of this school so that the kids here can enjoy a fresh space to learn and to play in 2024. But here's the thing. We're going to need to clean it up again. And again, and again. And we've cleaned it up before. And before, and before. We need a God who can actually clean things up. Ultimately. We need a God that we can hope in. That one day will completely clean up the messes in our lives. We need a God who, even though we are still works in progress, and parts of our souls are grinding, we need a God who can say, on that day, I am able to present you pure and blameless. And we have a God just like that. So when we clean up this school, we're not just cleaning up the school because we're nice people. We're cleaning up the school because we've met a God who has cleaned us up. And even though we're still works in progress and there's still grimy parts of our lives, can and will clean us completely and purify us one day. And we're pointing to Him in what we're doing. We're going to be packing some care packages for our unhoused neighbors today. And when we do that, we really hope that they just receive the bodily, the material love intended in that. We hope that these care packages keep folks warm, that they help folks take care of themselves. But even more than that, because these hats that we're packing are going to unravel. These hand warmers are going to stop working. We are pointing to a God who has given us a home. No matter if we feel unrooted or rootless, no matter if the people that have made our life feel like home are no longer around, we have been given a home in God with our Father by the power of Jesus. And when we pack these care packages, we are pointing to that reality, that deeper reality, and that future hope that we have, that Jesus has gone to prepare a place for us. That He is making a home for us right now. That He is setting it all up. That He is getting it ready. That when we come, it'll feel just like home was supposed to feel all along. That is our future hope. And when we pack these care packages, we are pointing to that hope. Are actions enough? No. Neither are words. But when we care for people, when we show God's love with both our bodies and our words, when we show up with our lips and with our lives, that is when the good news is really heard. That is when the good news of Jesus is really felt. And so that's what we're doing today. If you are in your life right now questioning evangelism, and you might think it's a bad word, I get it. All of us have had many of us have had some pretty bad experiences with it. But when we pack those packages, when we clean this school, that is exactly what we're doing. We are sharing the good news of God's love for us. Friends, as we do this work, I want to encourage you. As you clean, know the God who has cleaned you more deeply. As we provide warmth and support for our unhoused neighbors, know the God who has given you a home that nobody can take away, that no accident, no death, no catastrophe can take away from you. When we sit in God's love for us, well, that's when we're able to share it easily, freely, with our actions and with our words, with our neighbors. Let me pray for us.